Just want to preface this by saying that your swing is in a pretty awesome position at the moment, but I can understand your struggles and tendencies to hit that high right shot. So I definitely think that we can clean up a couple things just in regards to the club face. So I don't want to obviously rework your whole golf swing. There's so many good things about it, and you're obviously a very good player, and so it's not like we're going to be reinventing the wheel here. We're going to talk about some simple concepts as to why you might be having that flippy release and why you're struggling with that right shot that you're having. So in this analysis here, this first part, I'm just going to be mentioning the things that I see and not necessarily why I think those are important. That will come more in the demonstration video. So to start us off, we're just going to take a look at this down the line video. So I'm just going to put it through to this checkpoint. So this checkpoint here to me, I'm pretty happy with. So spine angle in regards to that club face angle, pretty good there. Wrist angles, also pretty neutral. I like this big hip turn that you're generating, also with that shoulder turn as well. As we take it more up to the top of that backswing there, to me, the hands work into a really nice position if we're after like your slight little 3-yard draw that you've been talking about. So absolutely no concerns with how the hands are working around your body. Just the only thing that we might start to see in this position here, in this checkpoint, is if we just focus our attention more towards this club face now. So, like, to the naked eye, I think that your club face positioning is what we would consider neutral, but the thing is that there's so many different ways to be neutral, and neutral for different type of people, for different types of people, is always going to be different, especially for higher speed players. So my preference as a coach, I like to see, obviously when you have a bit more speed, we want to have this club face a little bit more strong, and I'm going to explain why you're going to need that in this demonstration video coming up. But to me, in this position here, that club face just looks a little bit too open for those sort of stock yardages that you're talking about, in order to try to bring that ball flight down, and especially to bring it more towards straight as well, right? Like if we have the club face more closed, then we're going to work ourselves more from hitting it right to bringing it more to straight, or even more towards the left. Obviously, we don't want to get to the point where it's too far left, but just trying to match it up so that our bad shots out to the right aren't so significant. So bringing it up all the way up to the top of the backswing. Again, this top of the backswing position here, to me, Oliver, like, yeah, I can definitely see how that could not be considered an issue with this club face positioning here. But for your speed, and especially for a draw player, like, I'm totally okay with strengthening up this club face and just getting it into a more of a position where, so the arrow kind of pointing, say 45 degrees-ish, more up towards this guy slightly, just to try to get this club face more closed. And again, that's going to hopefully clean up that right shot, and then we'll talk about that trajectory as well more in the demonstration video as to why I think it could help that as well. But I do think that first stage is focusing on this club face position here. So we'll get rid of all that stuff and head down into the downswing here. So as we work it into the downswing, I mean, the shallowing move is superb. The way that the pitch of the shaft is working, I mean, mate, like it's pretty picture perfect there. But again, like as we bring it down more towards impact, it's a bit blurry, but we can pick out where that club face is sort of aligned. I definitely think it's more on the open sides than anything. And this is just particular for your pattern, Oliver. Like if I had someone who's hitting a stock driver 220 yards, then this might be perfect. This might even be too close for them. So it all really depends on how much speed you've got in order, like how much you can get it up in the air, what your ability is to be able to do that. And I just think for your case, like there's so many good things that are happening in the swing, but I just think that this flippy release that's about to come up here, where that right arm rolls over that left arm, and obviously you see it, is just presenting a little bit too much loft at impact. Therefore, you're getting that high ball flight. And again, like it's just not, you're just struggling to square the face up in time. Like you have to have that release pattern at the moment because of where your club face is positioned in the swing, whether that's up to the top of the backswing or into the downswing, like in my opinion, a bit of both. Like you have to do that, and because if you didn't, if you tried to hold the face off, it would, obviously that ball's going to go even further right and even further up in the air as well. So I all think that this flippiness is just stemming from that club face issue, in my opinion. And then like there's nothing out of the ordinary other than that I think would be causing you to have that flippy pattern. And so just taking a look at that side-on video now, just shift our attention there. So to me, Oliver, there's so many different ways that we can go about changing the club face. There's usually like 3 sort of standard procedures that I go through, and that's whether or not we change the grip, change the wrist angles, or the forearms and how they rotate. And like in your case, I think that the wrists and the forearms are doing an absolutely great job in working the club in positions that work well for you. But I just think that this grip could definitely move more towards a stronger grip, just in order to clean up that club face positioning and therefore get that ball starting on line a little bit more and not have that tendency to hit it out to the right. And so like my idea on this is that it's definitely going to fix that directional miss that you're talking about, like that right shot, and not necessarily going to bring the flight down guaranteed. I can assure you that we will eventually get to that point, but from what I understand and how your swing is at the moment, I think that if we can clean up that direction issue first, there's going to be a little bit of lowering in the flight just from strengthening up the club face, but that's not necessarily going to get you to the low flight that you're, or the lower flight that you're wanting to achieve potentially, and therefore we can work on that moving forward. But again, like if I give you 3 different things to work on today, it's going to be tough to sort of unpack that and get used to hitting balls doing all those different feelings. So I'd much rather just focus on strengthening up our club face to start with, focusing on direction as a starting point. Once we can get that down packed, then okay, cool, we can work down towards lowering that ball flight. But I do think that there's a portion of the strengthening up the club face that will bring the ball lower. Again, I just don't know if that's going to be enough to align with your preferences on how you want the ball to fly. So just going back to that bottom video again, the grip to me, again, like looks pretty neutral, but for someone with your speed, we can definitely afford to go to more towards a stronger grip, meaning that the left hand would get over more and the right hand would get underneath more. Both getting underneath. So again, there's not really a hell of a lot to look at in the side-on video, to be honest, Oliver. Just we go take it to impact. Like, yeah, we can just see that there's a lot of loft being added to the club there. There's not a whole lot of shaft lean. Hands are sort of hanging back. But again, you have to do that in order to hit shots functionally. If you didn't, we try hold the face off, try get those hands a little bit more forward and keeping that shaft backwards to try to create a bit more lean to the shaft. You know, you're going to make the ball go further right. So we're not trying to achieve that, right? Because if I give you an option of trying to hold the face off and you're just hitting it right all the time, like, yeah, okay, ball flight might be lower, but now I'm hitting it, might have been 10 meters offline, 10 yards offline. I'm now hitting it 15, 20 yards offline. And so that's where I think our focus on strengthening the club face should be our main priority and sort of the root cause as to why you're having to add loft and sometimes not squaring up the face enough and hitting those high and right shots. So that's going to do it for the analysis. And see just this position here. I mean, obviously you've seen this a lot. Just my first time seeing it, we see that the right arm is rolling over that left there. But again, like, you have to do that in order to square it up, in order to square that face up. So that'll do it for this analysis. Hopefully that's cleared up some things on kind of where we're focusing on working at. Obviously the grip is going to be our main concern here. And I do believe that all of those other things are just a flow-on effect from how strong that club face is to start with, or how not so closed it is, I should say. So if you have any questions about this analysis part, throw them over to me. Again, like whatever you are unsure of, just let me know and we'll talk through these things. So on to the demonstration video now for you, mate.